Hello everybody, John Felt here, and this is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing, November 24th, 2019. Well, the jet stream's definitely getting more active, as we would expect this time of year. It's also Thanksgiving week, so a lot of travel. So let's take a look at what's going on across the country. Now, before I start with the forecast, let's look at last week. Here's your precipitation over the last week. Fairly quiet. Some heavier rain over the middle Mississippi River Basin. Other than that, pretty much scattered light precipitation. Now, we did get a band of snow here, certainly in higher elevations, but also over parts of the upper Midwest. Now, this was snow last week in this area. Right here, this is the snow that's currently on the ground, higher elevations, but also a couple patches here and there, but even with some cold air in place, this snow melts this time of year. So that's pretty much gone in most of those areas. Now, over the last week, temperatures were below normal in the east, especially the northeast and Florida, and above normal pretty much anywhere west of the Mississippi. Now, we've really been seeing some changes in soil moisture over the last month. The southeast U.S. has seen some very significant improvements. They were in a flash drought situation, now getting back towards normal. Upper Midwest still remains vulnerable with some really wet soils. Those are those areas in dark blue. But most of the Corn Belt, the middle U.S., has gotten back from unusually wet as we exited the summer to back towards normal. Also want to bring to your attention California, still very, very dry, and that makes that area prone towards a continued wildfire risk. Now, there is some news in that California for some enhanced rain coming up I'll talk about here in just a minute. So we look at stream flow, we see quite a bit of blue over the upper Mississippi, parts of the Missouri, a few parts of the southeast U.S., the Ohio River Valley. Definitely the mid-Atlantic region, coastal mid-Atlantic, very high flows, and that would be blue and black. The lowest flows look like they're along the west coast, right from Washington State across Oregon into parts of California. Okay, so we do have a much more active jet stream, and that's a sign of late fall, early winter. The coloring here represents wind speed at the jet stream level, and when we have lots of coloring here, that's an energized jet stream. That's a sign of getting certainly into the winter months. We have a number of storm systems we're watching that are embedded in here, areas of low pressure. Here's one, here's one, here's one. This jet energy is also going to be affecting us, so quite a bit going on at the jet stream. Now, this is a forecast Arctic oscillation through the 10th of December. Gives us maybe some clues here as to what to expect, and you can see as we get through the rest of the month, it's pretty much close to normal, maybe a little bit negative. So that would say that we might expect some generalized digging of the jet stream over the central and the east. And then as we get into early December, you can see it goes positive, dips back near normal, and then positive. That might indicate we're having some pulling to the north of the jet stream, and then another system might come through, pulls back south, and then goes back north. So variability. And that's what we see here when we look for the next 14 days. Starting out here, we have this area here. That's a generalized trough. But look what happens as we get into week 2. You can sort of see that we get unshaded areas, and that's saying this trough is beginning to lift up towards the north. So what does that do on temperatures? Well, you can see as that in week 1 into week 2, we have a lot of blue, below normal temperatures. But if you look closely towards the end of that, you can see that they start to moderate, maybe lift a bit further north. Now, like I said, lots of storm tracks this week. And this is the first one here. We probably have one early this week, another one later this week. First one looks like it's going to be moving pretty much in this path right in here. In the cold air behind it, snow, maybe some freezing precipitation. And then along it and to the south, some heavy rain. And here's the storm tracks this week. Here's one. This is the first 5 days. Another one up here. Another one in the northeast U.S. here's the 6 to 10. This is the second one affecting us this Thanksgiving weekend or week. So as that low pushes up in this direction, your heaviest rain will be along its path here. Could be 1 to 2 inches within this region, maybe up to 3 inches. And then further up to the north in the cold air, we're going to have some snow. Now this is all in the higher elevations, but as it pulls out of the higher elevations, Nebraska, parts of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then up towards the northeast U.S., Kansas as well, even parts of Texas, we could have some snow. And much of it will be in the 1 to 3 inch, but there are going to be pockets of 4 to 8 inches embedded in here as well, and along the Great Lakes, perhaps even higher. So there's your extended outlook. I think as we get in the 6 to 10 day, this reflects what I showed you with that Arctic oscillation turning positive, and then you can see it sort of cold air sort of pushes back in, and that's that fluctuation in the Arctic oscillation. I did want to show you the 6 to 10 day here. Shows a definite uptick in rainfall for parts of the southwest U.S. that could pose a risk of some flash flooding in the desert southwest and some needed rain over Southern California. So if you're traveling, safe travels this holiday week, and I'll probably be a little bit maybe late on the briefing next weekend. We'll see. I've got some travel myself, so we'll see how that goes next weekend. Anyway, have a great week. Take care.